see you cheering for these teams. I wish you could have that same enthusiasm for the Quran. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. He said, I wish you had the same enthusiasm for the Quran. Now, if we have the same enthusiasm for the Quran and for praising Allah, for coming to Salat on time, just like we come to that job on time, then we'll see our spirit grow. You know, if we had that same enthusiasm that we love, and I just as much as the next man, I love pleasing my wife. But I love pleasing Allah more. And she knows that. You know, so if we have this same type of enthusiasm, this same type of drive to do these different things we have in our lives, then we should have this same drive to read Quran every day, to study the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to study tafsir of Imam Muhammad. May Allah have mercy on him and grant him the paradise. We have to have these drives. Allah has put the drive in us. We just have to appropriate the energy to the right path. So we see patience. So we're still on patience. We're still on patience. And it says patience. It says patience, then perseverance. And when we look at the life of Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the most perfect human being. And when I say perfect human being, I'm not talking about perfect as he didn't make mistakes, but he's the perfect human being because human beings make mistakes. But he's one of the most perfect examples for our way of life. But let's focus on that patience and perseverance. Look at what Muhammad the Prophet ﷺ went through. We have to study this man's life because it's not just a prophet for men, it's a prophet for the sisters as well. We have to study this man's life because his spirit was so innocent, so innocent. He had patience for 40 years. And he would always ask Allah, help me, why are my people like this? Help me understand this. Patience, perseverance for 40 years. Then he received revelation, right? Then he received revelation. So we look at Muhammad, the Prophet ﷺ, and things he went through. Just like when they offered him, they say, what does Muhammad want? We'll give him women. We'll give him money. We'll give him power. We'll give him influence. We'll give him this. We'll give him that. They wanted to give Muhammad the world, right? And what did he say? If you place the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I will not turn away from what Allah has given me. And Abu Sufyan asked, when he heard the words of Allah, he said, who is this man? Who is Muhammad? How can he speak so eloquently? Where did he get this from? This illiterate Muhammad. Even when they threw rocks at him in Taif, a lot of us, we'll probably start throwing rocks back. Muhammad just left. It said he was so bloody that the blood in you could hear it squish from the blood in his sandals. As he walked, squish, squish. So Muhammad had all this patience. And when he came back into Mecca, after he conquered Mecca, what did he do? He came, like it says, with a humble spirit, with a humble spirit, on his camel like this. Walked in on his camel, or rode in on his camel like this. And did he say, look here, you had my uncle killed, I'm gonna kill you? He didn't say that. He forgave. He forgave. Now, I'm not talking about, if somebody knock you upside the head, forgive them. I'm not talking about it like that. I'm talking about we have to have the patience to know how to defuse situations and grow our al-Islam, grow our community life, because it's not going to happen overnight. I was in an incident, and it was very recently, and it kind of made me realize some things. Somebody hit my car, and we pulled to the side. So this guy gets out. He has a pistol on him, and he's like, "You're dumb. You're stupid. You're da." Black guy cursing me out. All of this. My wife and daughter in the car. I have a pistol too. I live in the South. You know, I have a pistol too, but I didn't have it on me. It was in my car. So, and alhamdulillah, that was sitting right where it was sitting, because this guy was very extra. You know, I'm army. You don't know who you messing with. And so I just stood there like this. I just stood there. I said, "Calm down, man. Calm down." "Oh, you're stupid, you're dumb." I said, "Calm down." And so by the end of the situation, because I was reaching in my car to get my gun, and my wife was like, "Tajideen, don't do it. Tajideen." That's why it's good to have a sister that got your back, because she knew what was about to go down. Me or him were going. And so she said, "Tajideen, don't do it. Tajideen, don't do it." So I said, "All right." I went back to my patient state, right? My belief state. And so by the end of it, because he had his mother in the car. By the end of it, this is when my father was in town. My father walked up with my uncle, and the police still hadn't showed up. And they the situation was diffused. And what did the brother say to me? This is very important to believe. It's important because it's something I realized. Because I kept my patient form. Like, we have to keep our patient form. We can't be, like it says, signs of the paradise in the believer. We can't be shocked out of our form. We can't be angered out of our form, right? So not being shocked or angered, where I was gonna punch him, or we were gonna wrestle, or shoot it out, or whatever. When everything started, when he got all his whatever he's gonna say out, what happened? "Oh man, you know, it's not even that bad of a hit. You know, I can knock it out myself." And my car wasn't that messed up either. And so he's like, "Oh, I can knock it out myself." I said, "I can knock this out myself." He's like, "Man, look, I apologize for everything I said. You know, man, we brothers, man. Let me come give you a hug, man. Let me, you know, I'm sorry." Because like, I went to shake his hand. He was like, "Nah, man, I'm sorry. I'm real sorry, man." And I haven't told that story to anybody until now, but it made me realize, looking at this ayat, it made me realize that patient perseverance in prayer that, you know, we grow into in this deen outshines everything. That light that we have in our hearts outshines everything. Allah gives us that light, that enlightenment, to outshine the ignorance in this world. Now, if it had been 15 years ago, it might have been a little different, but alhamdulillah, it worked out how it did. رَحْنَا أَتَيْنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Again, we're talking about the humble believer. Now, in the same ayat, it says, prayer is next. For those of you, except for those of us who come humbly. So, when we look at this, first we have perseverance. Now, with perseverance, you know, I coach track. And I used to run track in high school and things. I know it doesn't look like it now, but I was actually really, really good back in the day at Eisenhower High School on the north side. And so, you know, our coach would always say, practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. You know, and I said, nah, that's good. But if I practice and I practice poorly, then that's not practicing perfectly. Perfect practice makes perfect. I want you to take that, believers. Perfect practice makes perfect. In Islam, we should always be in a constant state of belief. You know, because we never know when we're going to check out. We should always be in a constant state of prayer. You know, the Quran, Imam Muhammad said the whole Quran is a prayer. The whole Quran is a prayer. Because what do we pray with? Do we get up and say, "Oh, Allah, help me out. You know, wife's tripping, kids doing bad in school. Nah, you know, we don't get up and say that. We get up and say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillah rahman rahim, and we use the Quran. And we use the Quran, what? I'm sure you heard this before, but in an upright state, right? Because the Quran is the only thing that brings the human being up. The Quran is the only thing that brings the spirit upright. So when we look at this perfect practice, that perseverance, and then we have practice makes perfect. When we have paradise, we have paradise in practicing perfectly. Because if I say, you know, Islam is not what do you call it? Double Dutch? Yeah, double Dutch. Or that's that game. You put your right foot in, you put your right foot up. It's not. Islam is not like that. You know, we're not doing this and coming back, doing this and coming back. Islam, we're always in a constant state of belief. If you say I hear and I obey, then we're in a constant state of belief as believers. Now, if we're something else, then alhamdulillah, we'll work to get there. But we're always in a constant state of belief, because this ayat is talking about the paradise. Because if I'm seeking Allah's help with patience, perseverance, and prayer, and I'm coming with a humble spirit to Allah, I'm not coming pig-headed or whatever they call it. I'm not coming with an ego like shaitan. I'm not saying Allah, I know what you're saying, but it's I think what I got is better. We're not coming like that, right? Even when we pray, how many times do we put our head on the floor? In a rak'ah, we come up. I remember Imam Muhammad was talking about it. He said when we put our head to the floor, he said that's telling Allah, you know everything. Subhana Rabbi Allah, you know everything, and I know nothing. I only know what you have given me, Allah. I don't care if I have 1,000 PhDs. I only know what you have given me, Allah. So and then it says, and then he would say, and then you come back up, and then you go back down, just in case you forgot. Just in case we forgot that Allah is Akbar. So I say all these things to say, especially to our pioneers, but especially to our youth, the younger generation. I look at what the pioneers did. We look at what the pioneers did, and we look at all of what they went through. They built a nation. We wouldn't be sitting on this floor right now if it wasn't for our pioneers. We wouldn't be in this beautiful masjid Worth Deen Muhammad, if it wasn't for our pioneers. And our pioneers went out without what we have right now, and they went out without fear, without any fear. Now, brothers, especially my brothers, if we have the best Islam, we have the best religion, the best deen, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? If I say be Muslim, are y'all going to be Muslim all the way? I know it's one of my father's sayings, and I love it. Muslim all the way. I'm not going to be a halfway Muslim. I'm not going to be a part-time Muslim. I'm going to be a full-time mu'min. I hear and I obey. We're out in the world, right? We're out in the circular world. They need what we have. We should not be afraid to give it to them. If you don't know how to explain the Quran, Imam Muhammad said, just go, Allah will bring them to Islam. Just let them read the book. In sales, it says you have to have product knowledge. We have to have product knowledge. That's the key thing of sales, right? If I say, oh, well, this is a frame, this will look really nice with a tote background and so on and so forth. If I come with that and I have product knowledge of what I'm selling, that's what we have to understand, dear believers. We have to have product knowledge. And if we get product knowledge, then it's going to help us in our own spirit, in our own thinking, in our own souls, and in our own life. Because I should live my life according to Islam. Nothing else. I should be thinking with the Quran.